All right. Hi, Kim Gorode.
Hi, Skye.
Thanks for joining us on Life Before the Virus.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And you work at Quest Diagnostics, and I'd love to hear your perspective on what's going on in the industry right now.
Sure. So I do work at Quest. We are one of the largest commercial labs in the US. Things are crazy for us right now. I mean, I think before the virus, people thought of us as a company for routine testing like CBCs and like cholesterol tests, but our role has changed dramatically. And I think, you know, COVID has brought diagnostic testing and into the forefront, really. So right now, I'm on the corporate communications team, so I'm supporting the launch of all of our diagnostic tests for COVID, as well as our antibody tests for COVID, and then also supporting patients who may have other medical needs during this time and need diagnostic testing, like those who have to go in quarterly for like their A1C. So things are really insane here right now, busier than ever.
And recently, Quest made a big announcement. And can you tell us about that?
Sure. So Quest is now offering a serology test through Quest Direct, which is its consumer-initiated test offering. And so basically what patients can do is go online to www.getquesttest.com. They can purchase a serology test. And so what a serology test is it tells you if you have the antibodies for COVID-19. And so what you would do is you'd go to this website, you'd fill out a questionnaire. And so the questionnaire basically asks you questions like, are you over 18? Because you can't get it if you're not an adult. And if you have had certain symptoms within the last 2 weeks, because if you have an active infection, your body may not have made the antibodies yet. And then the test would not be accurate. So if you pass all of that information, a doctor on the back end will order the test for you, send your test requisition, which is kind of like a prescription for a lab test, to one of Quest's 2,200 patient service centers in the US. And then you could go in, get your blood drawn, and then in 1 to 2 days figure out if you are positive or negative for the antibodies. So it's really exciting because a lot of people, they're practicing social distancing and they're scared to go into their doctor's office, or maybe they just want to get a test from the convenience of their own home. And this provides an option for those people.
Do you need health insurance for this?
So this option is self-pay. Um, you could use FSA or HSA if you have that. If you want to go through your insurance, you can also go to your regular physician and they can order the test for you as well.
How cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I went and had it done, and I was like dying to know what I was because you know, I think there are a bunch of people in the country, there's those who have definitely had it and they know they had it and they just want to confirm if they have the antibodies. There's those people who definitely know that they haven't had it and they don't need to confirm whether or not they had the antibodies. And then, there are people who think maybe they had it, and they want to confirm. And then there's people who just like wish that they had it and they want to confirm so they can get out and you know live their life.
So, working on a big announcement like this, what was that like in your role working in communications for this big announcement when you're working remotely? How was that communications dealt with?
So I have a really strong team. We're a tight team. I've been working like all hours, like day and night. I haven't had a day off, like a weekend, since January. Just as basically, I mean, we've been preparing for this since like December. As soon as we heard that the virus was in China, we started thinking through like contingency plans and, you know, um, like what we needed to do for the company. And so we've constantly been thinking along, and then our team has been developing these tests in the meantime. So working on this direct-to-consumer antibody test was really exciting because we knew it's something that people would want. I mean, we work, you know, pre-COVID, we launch a lot of tests, and obviously these tests are very important, but they don't necessarily have like the visibility that this direct-to-consumer COVID test would have. So it's a lot of like just making sure that we have like our media materials ready and that they're accurate, making sure that our phlebotomists and our patient service centers are ready and that they understand the safety procedures and they understand what's going to happen with the increase in foot traffic. And then also just making sure, like the websites and everything are up to date, because in this crazy time, like you don't want people like going in and not having an appointment and coming out and risking, their own health just to get outside. So everything is very like planned, but
Are there,
also in a very compressed time.
right. Are there other direct to consumer tests like this?
I don't think so right now. Not for antibody testing. This
Wow.
is a first, yeah. And I've heard like anecdotal evidence or anecdotal like reports that there's so much demand that people have been waiting outside of our patient service centers in lines to get in and get the test. Partly because of social distancing. They have to be a certain. Not everybody can fit in anymore, but I think people just want to know. Like, I think one of the things that's changed because of COVID is just the role of lab testing in healthcare. I mean, before I worked in diagnostics, I worked in pharma, and I don't even think I understood it then. It's that, like lab testing is like the linchpin for healthcare. Everything kind of rides on like a lab test, a lab result. It changes the course of like everything for you. And I think that now people are starting to understand it. You listen to the news all day and it's all about test, 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 test. And I think before COVID, people thought about maybe the therapy or the relationship with their doctors, but the test is just as important, if not more important, because you don't know if you don't have a test result.
Right. So how does the relationship work? Is it with hospitals? Is it with blood centers? It's directly with physicians? How does that work?
So we service 1 in 3 Americans in the U.S. and then work with 50% of hospitals and healthcare systems in the U.S. So basically, I mean, you've probably been to a Quest or somebody who's been to a Quest to have an appointment done or had a test. And I think we at Quest, we keep that in mind as well. Like when we are working, we realize that like, there's a person behind every test result, and it's probably a person we know or someone we know knows. So we're very careful, and we're just like, that's the way we work, is we take the work very personally because it is.
Wonderful.